Today's episode of the Bill Simmons podcast is brought to you by Topps NFL Huddle. Collect and trade officially licensed NFL cards with football fans around the globe with just a few clicks. And use your collection and compete in daily fantasy-style games. Keep coming back to the app to grab your daily free coins, see new cards released, and chase rare inserts. Download Topps NFL Huddle free in iTunes or Google Play, and you get 10 free packs today. Today's episode is also brought to you by ZipRecruiter.com. Your company is only as good as the people you hire. When you're short-staffed, there's no time to deal with all the different job sites until now. Thanks to ZipRecruiter.com, you can post to 100-plus job sites with one click and have the best chance of finding the perfect candidate. You can be instantly matched to candidates from over 6 million resumes. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/BS. And here's where I thought we'd be playing our song that I thought I had cleared, but it's still not cleared. Oh, America's Nightmare continues. I don't have entrance music, but I do have Joe House. It's our annual Friday NFL picks / NBA / whatever else podcast. How are you?
Our weekly Friday. Look, Ice Cube has something to say. Ice Cube wants to talk about Friday. Yeah, Ice Cube's here. He had something to say.
Oh. I don't remember clearing Ice Cube. I guess he's just in the background. With terrible production values. Thanks, Ice Cube.
Everything is popping. We're ready. It's Friday, and everything is popping.
Was Ice Cube the one in Anaconda? I think he was.
He was definitely in Anaconda.
I like his action movie choices, Ice Cube. So I don't even know where.
That's being a gentleman.
I don't know where to begin.
Let's begin with this. You had a busy week. You were all over America. You were on the airwaves on the East Coast, top and bottom, right?
Yeah, I finally got to do Mike Francesa's show. It was a huge opportunity for me. I was very excited. He's the best. No, it was good. It was really fun. You know, the shame of it is, and I get why ESPN does what they do, where they steer ESPN people just to the ESPN radio podcast, right? Or ESPN radio shows and all ESPN things.
Yeah, ESPN media.
But Francesa is like the guy in New York, and he's been the guy there for 25 years now.
Really, New York and all the way up to New England. I mean, he's not the guy in New England, but he's a presence that extends all the way up.
Yeah, I was talking to my old Grantland friend Jay Kang about it on Wednesday. He was saying how, you know, Francesa's the guy, but it's not just that he's the guy now. It's that he's been the guy for that long, and it's really rare to have the title. You know, I think like in the 80s, Lupico was kind of the guy.
Sure.
You know, I was going to high school in Connecticut in the 80s. Used to read the Post and the Daily News all the time.
But that was back when the only way to consume Lupico was by reading him.
Right. And he was a great columnist. And he was the guy. And the decade before him, Dick Young was the guy in the New York Post. And I think he wrote for the Daily News a little bit too. But Francesa, when him and Dog took over, they collectively became the guy. And they owned New York for, you know, up through the end of the 2000s. And then they split up, and now Francesa's the guy. Yeah. And, you know, for me, it's good for me to go on a show like that because I'm reaching a whole bunch of people that might not even know who I am or might not read me.
Oh, no, they know who you are. They hate you.
Because of the New York thing. I know the New Yorkers are surprisingly kind.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was nice. And then I also did in Boston, I did Toucher and Rich, which was this morning show that pretty much heated up like in the late 2000s and became kind of the show. And I wasn't allowed to go on that either. So that was fun too. So it's that.
Yeah, you knocked out a couple.
Yeah.
You also, speaking of old Grantland friends and ZipRecruiter, I mean, you had a few friends.
I know.
You know, join the mission, right?
Yeah, we did. We had a few hires. Yeah, it's been
pretty good.
Definitely an interesting week. Who's the guy in Washington? Because he used to be Tony K for years and years, but now he doesn't write anymore, and he's got the local radio show. But is there a guy, or is it still Kornheiser?
There isn't a guy. It is Tony K. It's still Tony K. For one thing, he's been around now for 25, 30 years, and it went from print to radio. He was the guy on radio when he was doing his radio show on ESPN back in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Right.
The TV gig necessarily, made him divide his loyalties a little bit, but he's still the guy here. I'll put it this way. Everybody my age and older listens to him. Now, the sports junkies are also wildly popular here in D.C., and with good reason, because the homies roll it proper. I mean, they've been at it now for, it's got to be like 15 years, maybe even longer than that, 16, 17 years.
That's another show I want to go on. I want to go on the sports junkie. I wasn't allowed to go on that one either.
You've been on the Junkies once.
They
let you go on that to promote your book.
Yeah, like
one
a million
time.
Years ago. Yeah.
I know, one time in like 17 years. But the Junkies bring it home.
You like the Junkies.
A bunch of local donkeys that do it proper.
That would be an interesting blog column, like who's the guy in every city, because some cities don't even have a guy. I don't think L.A. has a guy.
Right, because L.A. just does all of the kind of serial national programs, right?
No, it's first of all, you're way off. That's the dumbest thing you've said.
No, I thought it was all national figures.
No, L.A. is like relentlessly and painfully local.
Oh,
like they would rather the Lakers could be 15-48 and they'll name a local show. They'll spend the first hour talking about the Lakers over anything relevant.
So this is a good. I've been out to L.A. probably 30 times since you moved out there.
Oh,
Not once have I ever heard a local radio program in your car. So that's all.
My friend Damashek got a drive time show for ESPN Radio, ironically. And I'm saying this was like in 2007 or 2008.
Oh, okay.
And his whole pitch for the show was, we're not going to do the local stuff. We're going to go national. We're going to go a little broader. Like there's so many transplants here. We can reach all these different people, and we don't just have to talk about the LA teams all the time. And they were like, great, that sounds awesome. And within 3 weeks, they were like, hey, talk about the local teams. Don't do what you pitched us. We don't like that anymore. You got to talk about the local team. People just want to. They were like Sarkisian, the coach who has a drinking problem.
The USC coach just dismissed.
Yeah, that's that and the Dodgers. That's it right now. And the Chosen Rosen, a little bit of that too. That
all makes sense.
Yeah,
that all makes sense.
The Dodgers. I tried to tell Sal this on Monday, and I think he thought I was being a dick. The karma of the Utley slide, it had to come back and haunt the Dodgers. It just had to. That's how it's the law of baseball.
That is the law of baseball. I totally agree with that. I thought maybe that karma was delivered in the Monday night game, the way that the Mets hit 17.5 home runs and won 40 to whatever the score was. I thought that was the baseball gods evening it up, but last night was pretty interesting.
I don't think the Dodgers were very good. They had two great pitchers. Other than that, it was did you think that was a talented team? Like the Puig thing really hurt them.
The only guy in their lineup that scared me offensively is Justin Turner.
Yeah, that's not good.
Like Puig,
think about what you just said.
I understand. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Puig ended up not, for whatever reason, having a great series, and that was, that's kind of the difference.
I love DeGrom +1. I tweeted this. I like DeGrom +135 with Falcons -4, and I knew one of them was going to lose. I didn't bet it though.
Falcons.
I got scared. Good. Yeah, the Thursday. I made a rule this year, and it's one of the better rules I've ever made in my life. It's just don't bet on the Thursday games. Just don't.
Yeah,
just stay away
Thursday
from
games
them.
are out. Yeah, absolutely.
It's like
Atlanta invented 17 ways to lose that game.
I didn't see it. Did you watch it?
It was painful to watch. I switched away upon each mistake, and there was a dozen mistakes. So I kept turning away, kept pulling, going back in just to see if there's any spark. Mistake. That's it. Turning it off. Put back on the baseball game.
I'm in 2 auction leagues. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm in 1 auction league and then 1 trade. My East Coast fantasy football, which is like all my friends from high school and college, and then the West Coast one, which is the auction league, which I care about a little more because the skill's higher. Yeah. In those 2 leagues, I spent a combined $140 on Kendrick West in my free agent auction. Spent 71 on one league and like 68 on the other. And
oh my gosh!
In the West Coast League, I have like a monster team, and I was just thinking like, oh, this guy makes it. I win the league. If this guy can be 80% what Jamal Charles is, I win the West Coast League. The East Coast League, my team's terrible, and I was like, I need a miracle. So either way, I'm in the Chicondrick West business. Chicondrick?
No,
I didn't
don't
even
ask
know
me.
who he was on Sunday.
Don't ask me.
But these are the guys that swing leagues.
Yeah, that's right.
Like Lou Rawls.
I have
what about Lou
Devontae
Rawls
Freeman in one league.
Oh yeah, Devontae. But he got drafted though, right?
Oh yeah, I drafted him. I mean, you're right. He wasn't a free agent pickup, but it wasn't. There was still some possibility that Tevin was going to be the primary feature back for Atlanta when the season started.
That's why I hate fantasy football. It's one of the 97 reasons. Like, I remember liking Devontae Freeman going into my draft, and like the day before, it seemed like Tevin Coleman or one of them. All of a sudden, there was ambiguity with the starters,
right.
and then somebody ends up getting him at the end of the draft, and he's like the best player in fantasy football. Fantasy football is evil.
It's the dumbest of dumb pursuits.
Yeah. So, all right.
Speaking of dumb pursuits.
Yeah, gambling. What's dumber than gambling? So, before we get to football, quickly, the baseball.
Oh.
Yeah. Blue Jays minus 155 over the Royals. And the Royals have home field in that series. And then the Cubs minus 160 over the Mets. That seems like
I don't like either one of those.
Well,
I like the Royals and the Mets.
I feel like I know a lot about baseball and sports. When was the last time the Cubs made the World Series? I don't even know. Does it happen in our lifetime?
No, they have not made the World Series in our lifetime.
Tate. I'm calling out Tate, our new producer, Tate Frazier, who's sitting there staring at me.
Yeah.
Can you find out when the Cubs last made the World Series? Tate's on it. He looks very serious right now. Tate, 22-year-old from North Carolina, buttered me up by claiming that one of his favorite ACC games was Maryland versus North Carolina, even though he was like -8 when it happened. But it still worked.
Nobody told me that. It's just obviously straight to my heart.
Yeah, I know. I figured. So, I would say Blue Jays Mets. But I don't know if I'd bet it. But it seems too improbable that the Cubs would make the World Series. How would that happen?
I'm just so happy that it's Mets Cubs. It's a great story. I'm happy for the story.
It's so good. I love it. Well, it starts when?
1945.
Oh, 1945. The Cubs made it. Jesus, my dad wasn't born in 1945. Was Dick House born in 1945?
He was Yes, he was 4 years old, I think.
Detroit Tigers.
A young Dick House. Yeah, they played the Detroit Tigers, and they obviously lost.
Yeah,
so
Dick House was not impressed.
We have the Blue Jays at Royals tonight. So, well, if I had to pick, I'm going to give you the odds for the matchups too. Wait a second, where are those? If I had to pick, I would say Royals Blue Jays, and you would say I'm sorry, Mets Blue Jays.
Yeah,
and you agree with that?
No, I would say Mets Royals.
Why do you like the Royals?
I like that this is the dumbest of dumb reasons. I am so prepared for all the criticism of this.
Okay.
They were there last year. That's it. That's all. That is the dumbest of dumb reasons.
That's so stupid.
I said so.
I haven't even dumber. Wait, I'm going to trumpet. I have a dumber reason. I like the Blue Jays chemistry. I think they have great chemistry. I like Bautista. I like Encarnacion. I like Donaldson.
Because chemistry in baseball is so important.
Oh, it's great. It's an individual sport where you can't rely on your teammates in any way, and I love their chemistry.
Chemistry is about as important in baseball as it is in swimming.
Right. But I loved when Bautista hit the bat flip homer and the Blue Jays like charged out of the dugout like it was Little League. That never happens. That was awesome.
It's tremendous.
I'm in.
It's tremendous. It's the best.
So what fan base would you be happiest for? Cubs?
Honestly, the Cubs. That's not even close. I was going to try and make an argument for the Royals, but no. It's got to be the Cubs. How could it? 1945.
No, it's not 1945. It's like 1908.
Well, no, 45 since the last time they were in.
I talked about this with Francesa actually, where I think the Cubs are different than the Red Sox fans in that we were so tormented the whole time, Red Sox fans. Whereas the Cubs seem like at peace with the fact that the Cubs fans seem like they're at peace with that they're never going to win.
Well, their regional tormentors are St. Louis, the Cardinals, right? That's their local rival, the way the Yankees are for you. But
well, they're not really. The Yankees aren't really our rival anymore because we've dominated this century. We measure ourselves against some of the other teams now.
Congratulations.
Hey, speaking of measuring, football last week. I'm having a good year in general, but I lost last night. So right now I'm 42, 32, and 4 for the season with picks.
Oh, I didn't pull up my thing. Let me see if I can figure it out. I went 11-3 last week against the spread.
Yeah, you've had 2 really good weeks. I had my Sunday best bets, which I've been posting on Instagram and Twitter, 10, 4, and 2. But last week, you went 3-1-1. I went 2-2-1.
Yeah, so I'm now as between on this podcast 5-4-1 on best bets, which is not great, but
well, we're going to ramp it up this week. Let's quickly go through the games that we did not pick.
Sure.
I thought about taking the Cardinals -4 in Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh.
I gave it a long, hard look as well.
Yeah, Cardinals might be good.
I don't think might be. I like them quite a bit, and Vic is such an impairment on Pittsburgh. It hurt so much to watch that game.
Yeah.
Monday night, but I honestly think the home field thing is what's kept me away from banging the Cards in this week. I'm picking the Cardinals either way, but they're not one of my best.
Yeah, and the thing with the Cards is that I'm sorry, with the Steelers is that they have so many guys who are scary that are on the field. They make me nervous. Yeah, they got Bell, they got Bryant, they got Antonio Brown. They got these guys who can bust these 65-yard touchdowns. I don't know. I don't feel great about betting that one. So Vikings. Yeah,
I thought Bell was unbelievable Monday night. By the way, I can't sing his praises enough. It looked like he was a video game player in that game.
Yeah, he was awesome. And they're they had a little something at home too. So Vikings are -4 at home against my dude Chikandrick West and the Chiefs. Chikandrick's he's gonna have 9 carries for 8 yards. People are gonna make fun of me, but that's fine.
I like the Chiefs in this one.
Yeah, I'm probably taking the Vikings. I don't have a feel for it. I almost took the Bengals -3.5 in Buffalo. EJ Manuel's playing. I'm not sure the Bills are even good, but man, something just scares me about the Bengals. Even it's 24-7 that game. I don't know what happened to Seattle in that game, but this just feel. Couldn't you see like betting the Bengals and then Andy throws the pick and somebody runs for 70 yards. Sammy Watkins, who was bitching about getting the ball this week, he makes a play. It's something scares me about this one.
I could see it, which is why I'm definitely taking the Bills.
Yeah,
they were in my small stack for potential best bet, but I didn't put them in. But I love the Bills getting 3.5 at home.
Yeah, I haven't decided yet. The Lions are -3 at home against Chicago, which is basically Vegas is just like, look, whatever, these teams suck. The home team gets a field goal. Good luck, everybody. I have no idea. What happens in this game, and I don't care. And I feel the same way.
I think the Bears are a little bit better than they have appeared. Their defense is pretty good.
They have a couple dudes. Pernell McPhee's look good this season.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'll probably take the Bears. Why would you take Jim Caldwell and Matthew Stafford ever?
I will be taking the Bears. I mean, Matthew Stafford got set down coach's decision last week.
Yeah, he really did.
During the game.
Well, he's a young quarterback. Oh, wait, he's been in the league 7 years. Broncos, -4.5 at the Browns. I like the Browns. Not enough to bet on them, but especially who's out on the Broncos? DeMarcus Ware? He's out for a couple weeks, right? That was a big part of what they were doing was their pass rush.
That's their whole, all of their success has been defensive. This is the first time at this stage of the season. Well, it's a dumb thing I'm about to say. It's so obvious. Peyton has more picks than touchdowns.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Look. They've been winning because their defense. Their DVOA they have the 32nd offense.
Right.
I couldn't believe that. Football Outsiders, like this Peyton Manning thing. but week after week, I think he's due for a game where he just throws 5 picks and single-handedly loses the game. I don't think it's this week, though.
I don't think it's this week either. I'm probably going to take. I'm probably taking the Broncos.
Really? I think that line's up maybe a point too high. It feels like that should be Broncos 3.5. But Jags Texans. The Texans are reprehensible, but obviously the people think the Jags are worse because they're not even getting 3 at home. They're only giving 1.
Oh, I saw pick 'em in one thing.
Well, whatever. I'm taking the Jags, but I'm not.
I'm taking the Jags as well. I'm not taking Houston again until
they stink.
They stink. I just can't take them. It hurts me.
They stink. Titans Dolphins.
Hard one because there's a lot of.
Oh wait, that's one of my picks. So let's just get to our real picks.
I didn't even know we're there.
We're there. We've arrived.
There's only 14 games this week.
Right, and we just did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we have. I'm missing a game. Oh boy. Well, at least I'm not prepared.
Did you do? Is Ravens 49ers one of your games?
Yes.
Oh, okay. It wasn't one of mine. And Falcons was last night, so we only have 13
okay.
to go.
So we're
through.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. First game, we both agree that this is a game we should pick. The Jets are home. They're laying 6 points to the Washington professional football team. What's your take?
The DC Grudens. This is surprising, right? I've been slowly warming up to the DC Grudens this year. They've outgained 4 of their 5 opponents this year. Defense, 6th ranked overall. And I like the spot. The 6 points is just a hair too many for me.
Oh, it's not a hair. It's a full head of hair.
It's a full head of hair.
It should be
too many. So
-4.
we're in agreement on this. I didn't know that you were going to agree with me.
I like their defense. I like their offensive line. I think they can run the ball. I thought last week was really impressive against the Falcons. What are the odds Kirk Cousins was going to kill you in a big spot?
Right. That was an all-time Watfo. We knew that was coming. But still covered the 7.5. That's really all that we care about on this podcast.
And it's Kirk Cousins versus Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I have a really dumb stat that I like to trot out as well. NFL teams off a win in London are 1-7 against the spread at home in their next game. That's a very dumb stat, but
well, I can just tell you,
1-7 is not good.
I went to London for the Olympics, and it took me like a month and a half to recover when I came back to America. So I can't even imagine what it's like to be a football player. I think that these teams are relatively even.
That's my view
They're
as well.
2 8-8 teams, and
Right.
did line. I don't see how the line's 6. I'm grabbing the points. I'm with you. Next game, this is just you. Packers 10.5 at home. Chargers. Who do you like?
I like the Chargers.
Oh,
and it's just look. The line. A few of these games, the lines moved. The lines moved by huge swings during the course of the week. This is one of those games. This one opened at 9 and climbed all the way up to 10.5. I think it is now. 80% of the early spread bets on the Green Bay Packers, and this is just a contrarian play. It's a straight-up contrarian play for San Diego. There's a bunch of great stats that support double-digit underdogs in this position. And you'll be surprised to hear this little nugget. Phillip Rivers, 3-0 as a double-digit dog.
Well, here's the other thing with the Chargers. You'd actually rather take them on the road.
Oh, absolutely.
They have the opposite of a home field advantage since their quarterback had to use the silent count in a Monday night game at home this week.
It was terrible towels all over the house.
It was
What
awful.
is going on out there?
There's got to be so depressing to that your home fans and 40,000 of them are rooting for Pittsburgh.
It would be understandable if the Chargers were like the DC Grudens here and terrible for like the last 10 years. And so opposing teams can have their fans come. And especially here, Pittsburgh is so close to Washington. But what the hell is going on out there?
Doesn't make sense. And I watched the last 2 Packers games. They scored 17 on the Niners.
Yeah.
Really couldn't move the ball that much. And then they scored 24 on the Rams. 1 long touchdown, 1 long pick six. I think they only had 1 other like traditional multi-play drive. What Rodgers is doing this year reminds me in '06 with Brady. When we had like Rashay Caldwell and Jabbar Gaffney as the two best receivers, and Daniel Graham as the tight end, and Lawrence Maroney as the running back. And Brady was so good, he kind of patched it together and was able to drag the team to the AFC title game. They had the big lead. They blew it to the Colts. I just don't see any weapons for Rodgers.
Yeah, we're not seeing big separation. The Packers receivers are not getting open.
Not open at all. And I think the reason he loves James Jones is because when he's scrambling around and James Jones can kind of get open for by a half inch.
And he makes a play, James Jones.
But it's not easy for Aaron Rodgers. And this is just a lot of points. With that said,
that's all.
I don't think the Chargers are good, and I'm not taking them. To me, this is a stay away. I could totally see the Packers winning by 30.
Yeah, honestly, the line at 10.5 is what convinced me to pop it in there. The 10.5 number at 9 or 9.5, I almost certainly would have taken the Packers. But once it jumped over 10, I'm on San Diego as a contrarian play.
That's terrible logic, and I look forward to it haunting you.
Thank you.
I have the Titans -1.5 against the Dolphins in Tennessee, and I'm taking the Dolphins +1.5.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think their coach. I think that was a really bad situation for them. And
okay,
I thought they looked sluggish. I thought they looked sloppily coached. I didn't think they seemed enthusiastic to be playing professional football in any way. And I actually think they have some talent, and new coach comes in, we're going to knock some heads, we're going to have hard practices again. And they just have more talent than Tennessee. Tennessee's coach sucks. I think that's a bottom 5 coaching staff. And
wow.
Like watching that, because I picked Tennessee last week and I bet on them. And I had that game on one of the 4 TVs, and they should have beaten Buffalo. That was a coaching malpractice game. And this is the biggest game of the year for Miami, because right now Miami is only 1-3. They're not out of this. 9-7 could be a wild card in the AFC.
That's
and
true.
They're going. They have at Tennessee, home for Houston, at New England on a Thursday night. Throw that one away. At Buffalo, at Philly, home for Dallas, at the Jets. But they could be 3-3 for that Pats game.
They could be 3-3 for that Pats game.
So if I'm Miami, I'm like, come on, guys. We have 2 games against the AFC South. Let's do this. We're going to be 3-3 in 8 days. Come on. So, even though I'm not a Ryan Tannehill fan, and even though they haven't been impressive, I don't know. I'm just playing them this week.
Well, there's a nice stat here for you. I'll drop that supports your theory here. Teams off a loss in London who dumped to the spread by 10 or more are 5-0 against the spread in their next game.
What about teams that lost in London and took a dump on their coach? Is there a track record for that or no?
All I know is the Philbin hedge is going to go down as one of our gambling highlights this season.
I still hate you for it.
That neither one of us actually went and played on.
I actually was talking to somebody a few days ago. I can't remember who, and they were like, I listened to your podcast with House. Why'd you let him bully you into that Dolphins pick? I was like, guys, I need like therapy to get over that. I'm still. You'll never talk
Philbin hedge. That was the reason.
You're a dick.
Yes.
Seahawks are laying 7 at home against Cam Newton, a bunch of nameless, faceless receivers, and the Carolina Panthers. Who do you like? This is one of your 5.
Yeah, this is one of my 5. I love Seattle at this position in this angle. 7 is exactly the number. We're finally at a point in the season where the power rankings start to have a little shape to them, start to make a little bit of sense. There's enough of experience, a third of the way almost through the season, where you get a quarter to a third of the way, depending on the teams, and you have a little bit of a feel that in the power rankings, these teams are like 6 to 6.5 points apart, and I just love Seattle in this position after last week's gack. I loved Seattle last week, and it ended up being a push. They had every reason in the world, every opportunity in the world to win that game. Andy Dalton did the regular season Andy Dalton thing, which is, drag his guys from behind in a game early enough in the season where it's not a tremendous amount of pressure
That felt
and
like a
everybody's
dig.
prepared for a loss.
That felt like a dig. That felt like a dig against Andy.
It was a dig.
Okay.
So I like Seattle here.
Okay. I like Seattle too. I didn't like them enough to bet on them because I worry that there's something funky going on with them. Blowing a 17-point lead makes me nervous, and
Sure.
It doesn't seem like they can block. It doesn't seem like they can protect leads. We saw 2 straight games now where they had a double-digit lead that they squandered, which makes me nervous.
True.
Carolina's 4 wins this year were Jacksonville, Houston, New Orleans, and Tampa Bay. And I'd like to offer them a hearty congratulations for those 4 nail-biter wins. So we have no idea if they're good. And this is the
4 of the 5 worst teams in the league.
Yeah, and this is the perfect time of the season where somebody just looks at the record and go, oh, 4-0. But I really feel like this line should be like 8.5 or 9.
I feel this the same way, and who agrees with us? Vegas, all the sharps.
Yeah.
There's a couple stats out there that show that the majority of plays so far have been on the Panthers, but the heavy money. So people, the volume of plays is on the Panthers, but all of the money is on Seattle. So that's just the classic sharps versus squares gig.
All right, I'm about to become the biggest hypocrite of all time with my next pick, which you did not join me on. The 49ers are getting 2 points at home against the Baltimore Ravens. A week ago, I had a whole impassioned monologue about how excited I was to bet against Colin Kaepernick every week and how he was going to be a Section 8 and, this is our last chance.
You said bad things about Colin.
I said a lot of bad things. This is our last chance. Rarely do you have a gift given to you like this where you can just bet against somebody for 3 straight weeks whose career is clearly going in the toilet. I was so excited. Then you watch him in that Giants game. If there's no pass rush, he's fine. The Giants don't have a pass rush. You know who else doesn't have pass rush? The Ravens.
The Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah. You know who else isn't good? The Ravens. They're not good at football.
Making opposing quarterbacks, they keep offering up to opposing quarterbacks record-setting weeks. In fact, this is a true fact. Tyrod Taylor is out this week for the Buffalo Bills, my starting quarterback, one of my fantasy teams. The quarterback I picked up was Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah. So the Ravens gave up 37 points. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 33 points to the Raiders. They gave up 28 to the Bengals. They gave up 20 to Michael Vick.
The 28 that they gave up to the Bengals, by the way, was with the game on the line. They were up late in the fourth quarter and gave up a touchdown to lose the game.
They gave up 33 to the Browns, and Josh McCown threw for like 570 yards. They don't have Steve Smith. I just don't think they're good. I don't think they're good at football. I think they're a bottom half of the league team. And I'm just going to grab the points here because I really feel like the line should be like Niners by 1.5 or Niners by 2. The Niners can do stuff. Like Carlos Hyde can run. They have linebackers who can make plays. They're not horrendous. I think they're horrendous if you had a good defense that was just chasing down Kaepernick. I think he'd fall apart, but that's not going to happen this week.
We keep saying San Francisco's defense is good. I mean, they're legitimate is the way I'll put it. Yeah. They're not awful.
No, they're not awful. So they had... Well, they gave up. Now, you know what wasn't impressive was when they gave up the game-winning drive to the Giants when Eli Manning only had Shane Vereen to throw to. I wouldn't say they have a good defense.
They've had their moments. That's a better way. I said legit.
They've had their moments.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of moments.
Yeah.
I keep telling you about SeatGeek, a familiar name and sponsor of my podcast, as well as the best app for sporting or event tickets. House, I tried out SeatGeek recently. I needed.
Where'd you do? Where'd you go?
I needed 2 extra tickets for the LA Kings game.
Nice.
It could not have been easier. So what if the Kings crap the bed, and so what if the Kings need to fire their coach? That wasn't SeatGeek's problem. I found 2 good seats thanks to SeatGeek.
How's it work?
Well,
how does it work?
I'm glad you asked. When you shop on SeatGeek, you can check out virtually every ticket option available for games and events. They pull ticket options from hundreds of online ticket sellers and create a one-stop shop for tickets. They also have a great feature called Deal Score. It ranks every ticket on the market with a 1 to 100 value score and plots the best deals on a color-coded interactive map. Find a ticket you want to buy, make 2 taps, and you're done. Show your phone at the venue and you're in. And guess what, House? My listeners can save $20 by downloading the free SeatGeek app today. Enter promo code BS. SeatGeek will send you $20 after your first purchase. Every ticket purchased on SeatGeek is backed by a 100% guarantee. So download the free SeatGeek app. Enter promo code BS. Just do it.
It's a great deal. $20 to use on gambling.
Yeah. You could actually use that $20 to gamble on the game you went to when you bought the ticket at SeatGeek. All right.
How much fun is that?
Our last 2 picks, the 2 night games, and we both have these marked down as 2 of our 5 picks. The first one,
I'm sure
Sunday night.
we're both 100% in lockstep on how this is going to go.
Sunday night, Pats giving 10 at Indianapolis. Andrew Luck probably will play.
Good, even better.
Yeah, they can't make the line high enough, and I'm fine with it. It could be 14. I'm betting the Pats. They've destroyed the Colts the last 4 times they played them. They have extra incentive in this game. I just don't see any scenario. If this Pats team is a good team, this will be the week that they lay the smackdown. Now, the one fear I have here, Nate Solder went out, left tackle, out for the year.
Yes.
Marcus Cannon replaces them. Pat's offensive line has been a little up and down, shaky in general, and that worries me a tiny bit. That's it. I have no other concerns.
I like how so you're going to do the calm and collected gig. I'm going to be the one that gets excited on this. I mean, this is, I said this last week, the Patriots, until further notice, you play the Patriots every single week, no matter what the line is. This line should be 20 points.
Yeah.
The Colts stink. They have been outgained in every game they've played this season. They are 0-6 straight up and against the spread in the last 6 games against the AFC East. And in the Andrew Luck era, the Patriots are 4-0 and have outscored the Indianapolis Colts by 189 to 73 points. That might be the score this week. I love the Pats. And you know who else loves the Pats? America. America annihilated the opening line in this game. The opening line for this game was 7.5 points. It's 10.5 points.
They have
3 points.
There's an FU history with the New England Patriots. It's a proven history of
documented.
Yeah, they will step on your throat if you've made them angry in some way.
Now,
the Luck part. Here's the case you can make for the Colts. Like Luck has had a habit. We've seen the Colts. I can't even remember how many times in the Pagano era where they fall behind by 17 to 20 points, and then Luck makes the late run.
Yes.
So, that could happen in this game.
It could happen. And on, that's every single handicapping analysis runs in favor of the Colts. It's just way too many points. The 7.5 would have been the right number of points. The public pumping it up to 10.5 make it like an all-time contrarian play. All the money's on the Patriots.
Did you know
that's where value comes in?
Did you know the Patriots pay a 4% mortgage on Andrew Luck because they own him? Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Awful.
Thank you. Last game, Monday night. I think the Eagles suck. They're laying 4 against the Giants.
I'm so glad.
I just think
the
they
Eagles suck. They do suck. They suck.
They stink. Yeah, I know they won like 39-10 against the Saints last week, but they
were supposed to do that. The Saints really suck.
I don't believe in the Eagles.
And by the way, nothing from last night changes my point of view on that.
So the Giants are getting 4 Monday night. I like this Giants team. Now Beckham's going to be healthy, right?
That's the indication. We'll see come Sunday whether or not he's all the way 100% healthy, but I think he's probable right now, right?
Yeah. My fear is that he seems probable. My fear with this game is just that the Giants have no pass rush, and Sam Bradford, who is another guy who you hit him twice and he's done for the game, getting a little comfortable, feeling himself
they
a
may
little
not be
bit.
able to hit him twice.
Yeah.
The power rankings have the Eagles slightly ahead, 1.5 to 2.5 point favorites. But the reason that you bang the Giants here is because it's 4. The 4 is a crazy number.
Yeah,
and Eli has this crazy great dimension to him in division games as a dog off a win, 10-2-1 against the spread, and 5-0 straight up and against the spread when against a 500 team or worse.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Eli angle.
I like Eli on the road in his own division for some reason.
So do I.
I have no empirical evidence to back that up. You just trotted some stuff out, but it always feels like the Giants are always frisky when they're at Washington, at Philly, at Dallas.
I had the exact same feeling.
All right, so to recap, we both have the Washington professional football team +6.
DC Gruden.
You have the Chargers +10.5 in Lambeau. You're going to lose that one. I have the Dolphins +1.5 in Tennessee. You have the Seahawks -7 at home against Carolina.
That's going to be a push.
Yeah, that feels like a push. We'll just tease that. We'll make money from that somehow. Yeah. I have the 49ers +2 at home against Flacco and Harbaugh and the Ravens. I have the Pats -10 in Indianapolis, as do you. Yeah. And we both have the Giants +4.
Oh, we have the Pats at 10. We don't have them at 10.5.
No, we have them at 10. I'm giving them to us at 10.
Whew.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so it really seems
Giants.
like, should we just do a Deflategate parlay and just take the 49ers and the Patriots? And FU Deflategate parlay?
That's how much do we? Yeah, so that we get.
All right, we'll figure it out later. Last thing, I want to talk about Lamar Odom really quick.
Okay.
What a sad story. And
it's a sad story.
How weird that in 2015, somebody who was in the NBA Finals 5 years ago, it basically sounds like he had like a legitimate drug problem.
Yeah, he has a drug dependency.
But
and he hasn't been able to have the right combination of people in his life or his own, I don't know what trait helps a person kind of come to grips with their problem and address it, but he needs help.
Wow. Yeah, that goes without saying. I mean, that it really seems like he had so much tragedy in his life that it kind of broke him. You know? It just was one thing after another, and that car accident, and his son died, and
I know
he had a tragic childhood, and his dad had problems, and it just seems like at some point there he just kind of gave up.
And he's a loved guy. People
really
love him.
Yeah, I was surprised reading all the stories and the feedback this week. It seems like everybody whose life he passed through, like just really genuinely cared about the guy.
Yeah, rooting for him.
Yeah, I just can't believe in 2015, a Las Vegas brothel with drugs in your system and like a track mark on your arm
in a
allegedly.
brothel for several days. That's like, a sad moment.
That's like something that would have happened to Michael Ray Richardson in 1981. You know, it just doesn't. It's not something that happens in 2015.
Yeah,
I felt really bad for him, and you know, I saw Van Pelt's monologue about how he's not the guy from the Kardashians. Which, did you see that? I thought it was.
No, I missed it. I heard about it. I didn't see it.
You know, I think what people forget is for a lot of people, he was the guy from the Kardashians. A lot of people don't watch basketball. It was a completely different audience. Uh-huh. You know, and that was why it was kind of depressing to see him on that Kardashians show, because this guy was the third best player on 2 straight title teams. He was definitely one of the most unique forwards of the last 20 years, you know, and it got involved with that family, and you just doesn't seem like once people pass through that vortex, it just doesn't seem like it turns out great for anybody, right?
And he had the best kind of framework to be able to survive it. He's achieved genuine professional success in his life.
Right. He
should have been able to withstand it.
Remember that year? What was it, like the World Basketball Championships in 2010, when he was kind of one of the leaders of the team? It was like Durant's first. I think that was, or maybe Durant was 2012. But one of those years in international hoops, he became one of the leaders of that team. And there was a lot of stuff about the mature Lamar Odom, all that stuff. He was really good at basketball. You know, I think to be the third best player in a finals team, or in a back-to-back finals team, it's a real thing.
What feels like it's kind of a shame is he was slightly ahead of his time, like the kind of player that he is.
Yeah. You're right. He's a stretch 4 now.
Right. I mean, and could face the basket and shoot, and if he'd really focused on 3-pointers, could have been. I mean, his stroke was perfect. He could be devastating in the way the game's being played right now.
Yeah, you look at that Lakers team. I'm conflicted on that Lakers team because in 2009, I thought the Celtics had the best team that year, and KG went down halfway through.
Yeah.
And then, we all thought LeBron was going to be there in the finals. Remember, Orlando just got hot. They just started making threes, and Dwight Howard was doing Dwight Howard. All of a sudden, they were in the finals. I never felt like that 2009 Lakers team was like a monster team or anything. But the one thing that was interesting about them was when, just to have Gasol and Bynum and Odom was such a rare thing. And Odom's flexibility and his ability to be able to play, he could play small forward, he could play the four. Now, if you took 2009 Lamar Odom and put him in the 2015, the way Styles played now, he might even play a little five, right?
Oh, he could play the five for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's one of those guys that he definitely had bad luck with teams for a long time, just who he was playing with, where you just think like if he had, like, let's say he was on Phoenix in the mid 2000s, that would have been so great for him.
Yeah. Right. He could have been Amari. He could have had all of that.
Or Sean. He could have had that Sean Marion kind of second banana forward, but the offense runs through him and Nash, and but definitely it was something I hadn't even thought about until all this stuff happened. But definitely a unique player. I don't even know who you would compare him to. He's like one of those one of a kind basketball players. Yeah,
that multidimensional. He felt like he was a little bit evolutionary. He was smaller than Derek Coleman, but I always sort of thought of him as a logical extension of that skill set that Derek Coleman had.
Yeah, and this is gonna sound weird, but I always felt like he was like left-handed Billy Owens. Like all the stuff Odom did in his career was kind of what I wanted Billy Owens to be.
We're doing Syracuse guys. That's funny.
Yeah. But Billy Owens, he never got there.
Right.
Odom, what was interesting about Odom was when they would run the offense through him, and then all of a sudden you go down and post up. And it just seemed like there's certain guys in the NBA who you always wonder in a pickup game how much fun they would have been able to play with and how many things they could have done. Like, I'm going to talk about NBA, just like if you just randomly playing with them on the playground. It seems like he would have just been amazing.
Yeah, right. That all the skills that led to him being a guy that teams trusted to run the offense through would have been extraordinary on a pickup basketball court. So much fun.
And he also, a couple good what ifs with him. Like, he's there on the Clippers. He's about to re-sign with them. And that agent, Bill Duffy, is supposed to renew Anthony Carter's contract.
Gosh.
I think this was 2003. I'm looking it up. Yeah, summer of 2003. He's supposed to renew Anthony Carter's contract and forgets. The deadline passes, and Anthony Carter becomes a free agent. His contract gets wiped off the Miami salary cap. Pat Riley now has enough money to make this last-second run at Lamar Odom and gets him. And gives him like 6 years, $60 million or something. So now he's on a team with Dwayne Wade, who's a rookie, and I forget, was Tough Juice on that team yet?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, okay.
So he's on a team: Eddie Jones, Rafer Alston, Brian Grant, Dwayne Wade, Tough Juice, Udonis Haslem, Rasul Butler. Not a bad team. They only went 42-40. They won first round, and then they lost to the Pacers in round 2.
Okay, that all makes sense.
But pretty good situation for Lamar Odom, right? He's there with Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
This is great.
With all that money, too.
All right, Kobe and Shaq fall apart. Now Lamar Odom gets traded to the Lakers. Now it's just him, Tough Juice, and Kobe's in 35 shots a game mode for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And you could see Odom kind of checked out. That was not. Is there a worse situation for him than that? Just being kind of the appendage for Kobe Bryant.
Right.
So what a shame. Like all the teams, like if he'd been on that Miami team with Wade and Tough Juice, like if that Shaq trade never happens, I think that's a much better basketball situation for him.
For him, absolutely.
And then finally, when they got Gasol, that team fell into place, but it took a couple years.
Yeah.
But
it missed his prime.
Yeah, he should have had. There should have been one awesome Lamar Odom year. So his best year was, I guess in 05, his first Lakers year, he was 15-10. Oh, he was 17-10 for the 04 Heat. And then on the 08 Lakers, he was 14, 10.6 rebounds, 3.5 assists.
Yeah.
Wow. In 06, he was 15, 9, and 5.5 assists. That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
PER, always like in the high teens.
Makes perfect sense.
I don't think he was close to being a Hall of Famer, although nothing would surprise me anymore. Right? With some of the people that are getting in now?
Yeah, right.
I mean, Jesus.
We've had our discussions on...
maybe 12 years from now, he might be a Hall of Famer.
No.
Never made an All-Star team.
Career. Always a guy that was a plus for the teams he played on.
Never made an All-Star team.
Perfect situation.
Never made an All-Star team, which probably prohibits his Hall of Fame candidacy. Although, again,
I think so.
If they're going to add 7 guys a year every year, at some point, everyone's going to be in the Hall of Fame. What Wizards and Bullets do you want in the Hall of Fame? Because they're all going to make it. Is Phil Chenier? Is he ready to get in now?
At this rate.
Is Bobby D in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't think so. Let me look him up.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, I hope Lamar Odom rallies out of this.
Yeah, we're rooting
thing.
for him.
And it makes me sad that he clearly seemed to be struggling for years and years, and nobody could figure out how to get to him, and he would just disappear and fall off the radar, all that stuff. I would say being found in a coma in a Las Vegas brothel is almost as low as it gets.
Well, honestly, I'm glad he's survived so far.
Me too.
That story typically begins with found dead of drug overdose.
True. 99% of the time.
He's still got a chance. We're rooting for that.
All right, thoughts and prayers to Lamar Odom. All right, House, we're going to call the J-Bug really quickly, but we will talk to you next Friday. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm letting the ice cube take me out.
you get the cube going. All right, it's time for our biggest mailbag question ever. We love tracking statistics with players and teams, so why not do it with our cars? Automatic is a small adapter that plugs into your car's diagnostic port and works on nearly every car made after 1996. With Automatic, you can keep track of any relevant stat, from fuel economy to trip logs to how much you're spending on gas. You can even figure out what that annoying check engine light means. Take your driving and commuting to the next level with Automatic. Normally it's $99.95, but with the discount code BS, it's 20% off. That includes free shipping and a 45-day, no questions asked return policy. Just go to automatic.com/BS. All right, I have my buddy J-Bug on the line. He's in Massachusetts, longtime Pats season ticket holder, and here's the biggest mailbag question ever. How many points are the Pats going to beat the Colts by this Sunday?
Are you asking me that one?
Yeah, I am. I'm asking you. I'm putting you in the spot.
I'm a homer, man. That's 72-10, 60 points. That's what I'm thinking.
Can you describe the attitude of the city of Boston and the state of Massachusetts and the region of New England right now with this Sunday night game?
Oh, man. I mean, last year it was FU mode, right? It's the same. It's carried over. And I think we're overconfident. At the same time, but we haven't lost to the Colts this decade. And we're 2 months away from being 6 years in to this decade. And with Luck at quarterback, I think the closest he's come to beating, I said we, I mean the Pats.
No, say we. I like when you say we.
So I think the closest he's come to beating us was a playoff game. I think it was like 21 points. I think that's the closest that Luck, assuming he's starting. He might not even be starting, but we beat him by over 20 points every time we played Luck. Or the Pats have won by over 21 points every time they've played him.
So
and they haven't beat us once this decade. So that's just regular old Colts Pats. Now this week, man, the thing is they're taking Gronk out. They've been taking Lewis out. So
you worry about running up, like from a running up the score perspective.
Yeah.
Well, The last time Patriots fans have been this overconfident about a game was Super Bowl 42. So what could go wrong? I don't know. I don't know what could go wrong.
This is true. It could. This is a little bit different, but yeah, you're right. I mean, we're way overconfident.
So, all right. So let's talk about things to worry about. We lost our left tackle.
We did.
That's
thin. We are very, very thin. I think we have Cannon and we have Vollmer, and I think
a bunch of
they're going to
dudes.
have to move like Williams over to town. I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to go with Chandler and Williams. They're going to get a lot of playing time, I'd imagine.
We have a couple guys in the defense that I'd never heard of like 4 months ago. So that's maybe a slight problem, not a major one.
Never a good thing. And from what I understand, Brown is out, or he's not playing. We're thin at cornerback too. So, Hightower's got his ribs. I think he practiced this week, but I don't know. I'm not sure if he's going to be there. But Mayo stepped in, so we're fine there. I don't know.
And then the other minor issue, it's not even that, it's less than minor, but Brady gave a mildly eccentric interview on Monday and got talking about how Coke is evil for kids, all that stuff. I actually agree with him. I think soda's terrible for kids, but
it is. And again, I don't know how much behind the scenes talking he does. So he specifically said, look at our Super Bowls. Look at the advertisers. It's soda. It's poison. It's poison for our kids. And I thought, oh crap, has he been preaching this stuff? And I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but when you're I don't know if he did that intentionally because of the Deflategate stuff. And it's like, all right, I'll fight back too, and I'll go at some of our sponsors. But man, when I downloaded, I didn't hear it on the radio, but I downloaded it because I'd heard about it, and it was like I listened to the whole thing. It was I think it was 40 minutes. It's the longest I've ever heard him on the radio, and he was passionate. I'm going to use the word passionate instead of another word.
Yeah.
Some others have used to describe that conversation he had. And not to get off track, but speaking of radio, great job on Toucher and Rich this week.
Oh, you wanted me to go on that show for 7 years.
I know, and I know they come on at like 3 a.m. where you are, and I'm not sure how often you get to listen to them, but they literally almost kill me once a week on my way to work. They're that funny.
Good.
And I don't know. I mean, they don't need any plugs from me, but the bit they they're just funny.
All right, good. I'm glad you liked it. I mean, you've been pushing for years.
I have. Good job.
So you like the Pats laying 40 against the Colts. And what about the Celtics over-under for wins is 44? Seems low.
I like the over. But again, hey, they're in the East. I mean, it's not like there's anyone. Who are they? Even Cleveland is vulnerable, right?
I know, Cleveland. LeBron's getting shots on his back. And then
we're opening up against Philly, man. We're opening up against Philly, and I don't know.
And then you you're rooting for Theo Epstein deep down, Jed Hoyer.
Absolutely. Oh, yes, 100%. Yes. Yeah.
What an amazing. I know people have made this point, but man, if Theo brings a World Series to the Red Sox and a World Series to the Cubs, that's like the all-time mic drop as a GM. Nobody's ever topping that ever.
You just get walked into the Hall of Fame, I'd imagine, right? I mean,
I think people should just feed you grapes for the rest of your life. You should just walk around as servants feed you grapes. What can be better than that?
I loved Theo. I thought he was great.
Yeah.
I thought Theo was great here. Yeah. I mean, he got forced. I think he got forced to do a lot of things that were, based on the sizzle factor and things that he might not have really wanted to do. And now you're seeing it with the Cubs. He brought in Lester, but for the most part, he's making smart decisions. So.
And we like John Lester too. We're rooting for John Lester.
Absolutely. Yes. Of course we are.
All right.
Of course. I love Lester.
Bug, we have to go. I just wanted to get your quick take.
That's it, man. I
That's
think
it.
Pat 72-10.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Talk to you soon.
All right. See you, pal.
That's it for today's BS Report. Thanks to Automatic.com for sponsoring today's podcast. With Automatic, you can keep track of any relevant stat with your car, from fuel economy to trip logs to how much you're spending on gas. Take your driving and commuting to the next level with Automatic. Normally it's $99.95, but with the discount code BS, it's 20% off. That includes free shipping and a 45-day, no questions asked guarantee. Just go to automatic.com/BS And don't forget, my podcast listeners can use promo code BS for the SeatGeek app and get a $20 rebate off your first SeatGeek purchase. You count as a podcast listener. You do. You're listening to this podcast. You count. You should do this. Every ticket purchased on SeatGeek is backed by a 100% guarantee. It's the best way to buy tickets. To redeem your promo code and get $20 back with your first purchase, download the free SeatGeek app and enter promo code BS. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the baseball. Enjoy everything.